What if the next medical breakthrough could change thousands of lives? Welcome to Moving Medicine Forward, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on groundbreaking healthcare innovations. I'm your host, Jeremy Schrand, and together with CTI's leading experts, we explore the cutting edge of clinical research transforming patient care. Each episode, we dive deep into the stories behind medical advancements, featuring insights from global therapeutic experts who are literally changing how we understand and treat critical disease. From rare genetic conditions to revolutionary treatment protocols, we're not just discussing research, we're highlighting the human stories driving medical progress. Today we have a special episode recorded at ASN 2025 in Houston, Texas. Our very own Courtney Cordaro, Director of Therapeutic Strategy and Innovation Lead at CTI, sits down with Morgan Terry, Site Director at Eastern Nephrology Associates in North Carolina. Morgan brings years of experience working on active clinical trials and offers a unique perspective on the relationship between research sites and clinical research organizations. In this episode, Courtney and Morgan dive into what makes a healthy and productive partnership, the importance of clear communication, and how both sides can adapt to evolving landscape of nephrology research. Whether you're a site professional, a CRO team member, or simply interested in clinical research, you'll find valuable insights in their conversation.
I'm here with Morgan Terry from Eastern Nephrology Associates in North Carolina, and we are here in Houston, Texas at ASN. How are you today, Morgan?
Good.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to just ask you a few questions and get your perspective on what it's like as a site director and the relationships and what you think it takes to have a strong relationship with a CRO. So from your perspective as a site director, what are some of the key elements that define a healthy and productive relationship between a site and a CRO?
I would say, obviously, communication, very clear communication, having a dedicated point person and understanding from the CRO, as well as understanding of the CRO's position. I feel at times we all forget that we're on the same team, and when a CRO is involved, it's hard to establish a direct relationship with the sponsors who we're all doing the work for, right? Aside from the patient. Having that dedicated point person who understands the site, understands things from a site perspective, and is willing to put themselves in the middle between sites and sponsors is key.
How does clear and consistent communication between the site and CRO impact the success of a trial in nephrology, especially when managing patients with kidney disease?
I feel like the world of nephrology research is changing frequently. We learn something new all the time, especially with all the KDIGO and KDOQI guidelines, as well as the federal guidelines around research, and trying to make those match up is very challenging from an operational perspective. So having that point person that I mentioned earlier to really understand, our challenges at the site level and help us translate amongst, the different guidelines or the regulatory bodies and differentiate between, normal practice and what we're trying to do in research is really important.
You have mentioned a couple times now actually about a dedicated point person. What about if there's turnover at a CRO, and how do you manage that?
I mean, obviously, we give everybody grace. We get it. But having to kind of go back over ground that we might have covered, training somebody, this is how we work. This is how sites function in general. This is nephrology. It can be, it's hard. It slows things down. And I feel like trying to raise somebody new that gets pointed to us, it can be a huge detriment. Everything moves so fast. Trials close quickly, protocol amendments come so fast. The patient populations and the treatment approaches change so often. Having some retention in the CRO realm is key.
What are some common misconceptions CROs have about the day-to-day realities of running a clinical research site?
I think that for the folks who work in a CRO who have never worked at a site, it is a very eye-opening experience. Within the CRO realm, you guys are blessed to be able to have dedicated marketing teams and teams dedicated to that one project and that one project only. And everybody has very clear and defined roles. At the site level, we have a limited team that we have to make do with, and We are HR. We are the pharmacy. We are marketing. We are editors. We're the science experts. We're the patient liaisons and the patient educators. And we're not working on just one project. And it's very costly at a site level. And I think that it's hard for CROs sometimes to understand because we are so much smaller in our operations, just from a size perspective. But the cost is, it's huge, to do this business and be able to offer the services to the patients.
I have a lot of respect for what you guys do every day. I myself have never worked at a site, so I learn something every time I work with you on a clinical trial myself.
Yeah.
When working with a CRO, what behaviors or practices really show you that a CRO truly understands and respects site's workflow and constraints?
Going to bat for us with the sponsor, with the budget team, with the quality team, whatever it may be. I think having somebody at the CRO that does that and supports us and remembers regularly that we are on the same team is one of the main behaviors. And just being responsive and having answers is really important. We have a question, it is often urgent. We have a patient on site, we have something happening. We're trying to, follow the protocol that sometimes is clear as mud, and having somebody that will respond to us and either be confident in what they're relaying or know the exact person that they need to get us in touch with right away to give us answers that we need.
Could you share an example of when a CRO has handled a challenge very well for you and what that taught you about a good partnership?
When we identified a challenge in the protocol that kind of went against standard operations or standard practice in the clinic realm, our standard approach to treating that patient population, we identified some challenges in the protocol that would prohibit us from taking care of the patient in the way that we ordinarily would, or the protocol was asking us to do something that was totally out of our wheelhouse. When we identified that and brought it to the CRO immediately understood what we were saying. Didn't take us 10 meetings to explain why this is an issue and why we couldn't get that patient in the study or why we had to stop the patient, whatever it may be, and went directly to the sponsor and got an answer right away, got a clarification memo until a protocol amendment could be issued. Hearing what we have to say and taking action on it is one of the best ways.
That was always something I did as a CRA myself, is just taking the actions and making sure that the sites feel heard and appreciated.
Yes,
absolutely. We can't do it without you.
Well, and that's something that, is sometimes it's hard because we want to have that relationship directly with the sponsors. We want to be invested in their product. We want to be invested in their pipeline and the vision that they have for their products or that patient population. And having a CRO in the mix sometimes can be challenging because we're a little bit removed from that normal relationship. And so a CRO stepping up and taking action is the very best way. Hear what we say, step up, do it, allow us to have a relationship via you, kind of be our, not just our support, but our voice when there is a third party.
Absolutely. Given that nephrology trials often involve, repeat collaborations over the years, I myself have worked with you in various trials throughout different companies. What really helps build long-term trust and consistency between your site and a CRO partner?
Minimal turnover. Again, going back to that point person, somebody that we can go to directly or that comes to us directly, somebody you've worked with in the past, how you operate and know your asks before you even have to ask them. Even small things like they have your CV saved from past projects. Those little steps that can make everything way more efficient helps. Every little bit counts. So, and speeds up a timeline more than you would think.
Absolutely. Especially when those CVs need updating every couple of years or 3 years, or maybe even shorter in some cases, depending on sponsor expectations.
Absolutely.
As the nephrology research evolves with more decentralized elements and bringing the trial to the patient, remote monitoring and precision medicine, how do you see the site and CRO relationship adapting in order to stay effective?
CROs and sites understanding that adaptation is necessary and that not all sites are the same. There's going to have to be some give on both sides. Not all sites are equipped to support decentralized elements. Some are, and that's great. Some aren't there yet. Some sites can't support remote monitoring. And so making sure that there are resources for the sites that can't support that, and going into the project with that understanding and everybody on the same page so that it doesn't become an issue down the road, if we can sort it out ahead of time. And I think, again, communicating, here's what the expectations will be, and we understand that you can't support this, or you can support this, and this is what we put in place. You don't have CRO, so you can't do easy remote SDB. So we have set up this box, or we're going to do all on site for you, or whatever it may be, just adapting around it, because we're not all the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Morgan. This has been great. I hope you enjoy the rest of ASN and get to see some of those really intricate booths that are in there.
There are a lot.
Thank you for joining us for this insightful discussion with Morgan Terry and Courtney Cordaro. They've explored the challenges and opportunities in building strong site-CRO relationships, the impact of communication and retention, and the need for adaptability as nephrology research evolves. Morgan's experiences remind us that collaboration and understanding are key to successful clinical trials and better patient outcomes. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave us a review. Visit ctifacts.com to learn more about how we can help you with your clinical trials. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep moving medicine forward.